Today, we'll be taking a look at what it was like to travel first class on the Titanic. On April 10, 1912, passengers would board the ship from Southampton, England. They would arrive in carriages or in cars and have copious amounts of luggage and also be accompanied by staff and servants, such as ladies' maids and valets. That evening, passengers would also be coming from Cherbourg, France, such as Molly Brown, John Jacob Astor and his new wife Madeline, and Lady Duff Gordon and her husband. Titanic was too large to accommodate the port, so a ferry brought the passengers to and from. Once you had entered the ship, you would either be on B deck or on D deck. Passengers coming from Cherbourg all entered on D deck. Once aboard the ship, you would be in the reception room. This room would be your first impression of the interiors of Titanic. The reception room was not only a room where passengers boarded the ship, but it was used for talking and conversation before meals, as it was adjacent to the dining saloon. Once on board, you would be met by the chief steward and his staff. They would help bring your luggage to your room. First-class rooms began on A deck and ended on E deck. Titanic contained 371 first-class rooms in total. There were 4 parlor suites, 39 private suites, and the rest were single or double berth staterooms. Prices ranged from $4,500 to $135,000 in today's money. The most expensive of these would have been the private promenade suites located on B deck. Like the name suggests, these suites contained a private 50-foot promenade, complete with half-timber Tudor-style paneling, sofas, tables, potted plants, and wicker deck chairs. In this space, you could have your own breakfast. The suites contained 2 large bedrooms, 2 walk-in wardrobes, a private bathroom, a lavatory, and a spacious sitting room. The sitting rooms allowed you to receive small parties of guests. They featured a fake fireplace, large card table, plush sofas and chairs, sideboards, and writing desks. The single-berth staterooms on A deck were decorated more modestly than the lavish period suites located on B and C decks. Every room contained a horsehair sofa, wardrobe, dressing table, and marble-topped wash basin, as well as a call button that could summon a steward, a reading lamp, and a wire mesh basket for storing small items. Although the Titanic was centrally heated, the first-class cabins all contained electric heaters. Titanic featured an impressive ratio of private bathrooms to passengers, more than any other ship in 1912. Virtually every suite on B and C deck featured ensuite bathrooms. It was standard at the time for the bulk of first-class bathrooms to be shared, and this indeed was the case for the majority of the first class. The first-class suites on B and C decks were richly appointed in 11 different period styles, such as neoclassical, Louis XIV, XV, XVI, Empire, Georgian, and Italian Renaissance, to name a few. The Dutch design firm of H.P. Mutters and Zoon fitted out 12 of the special suites, according to their chosen period style. They supplied everything from the paneling and doors down to the soft pillows and down bed quilts. Wealthy passengers also had the option to book multiple adjacent rooms to each other. They could then open the interconnecting doors and create a private suite of their own liking. Now that we have spoken of the accommodations, let's discuss what it would have been like to have a full day on the Titanic from morning until nighttime. You could choose to wake up whenever you'd like. You would bathe, dress, and get ready. If you were a wealthier passenger and a woman, you would put on your breakfast dress. But if you were of more modest means, you would go ahead and put on your day dress, and men would wear their 3-piece day suits. You could choose to have a light breakfast in your stateroom. You could then proceed to second breakfast, either in the dining saloon, a la carte restaurant, Café Parisien, or the Veranda Cafe. although the Veranda Cafe only served light refreshments and light fare of cakes, pastries, and other small temptations. The dining saloon was open between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. for breakfast, while other restaurants and cafes were open throughout the day until 11 p.m. The dining saloon was only open during select times for lunch, dinner, and breakfast, and not the entirety of the day. And here is a real menu of a first-class breakfast in the dining saloon. There was great variety in the options. You could have oats, meats, fish, eggs, fruits, and vegetables. After breakfast, you might choose to walk the promenade deck, taking in the fresh air and the beautiful sight of the sea. There were also many amenities available on board, such as a gymnasium, Turkish bath, steam room, private massage room, swimming pool, and squash court. The gymnasium was open between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. for ladies only, 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. for children only, and 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. for gentlemen only. The gymnasium contained a weightlifting machine, mechanical bicycles, punching bag, and very interestingly, rowing machines, electric horses, and electric camels. You might also choose to go to the Turkish baths. There was a temperate room, cool room, hot room, steam room, electric bath, and 2 shampoo rooms where massages were performed. The baths were segregated by women and men. Women between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. and to men between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. There was a charge of 4 shillings or $1 per person for admission, this money being back in 1912. Today costing roughly $35. The architecture of the Turkish bathing rooms was absolutely gorgeous. The cool room was the central feature of the Turkish baths and was decorated in the Arabic and Moorish styles. The walls were fit with glossy blue-green tiles, richly carved teak furniture, and bronze lamps. There was also 1 marble drinking fountain. The ceilings were very deeply recessed and painted in a deep crimson, with gilded beams and beautiful hanging lanterns. They were supported by pillars encased in teak. The swimming pool was located near the Turkish baths. It was a heated pool measuring 30 feet with a depth of 7 feet. The water depth was only 5 foot 4 inches at the deep end and 4 foot 6 at the shallow end. The pool was indeed heated salt water, and the floors were tiled in blue and white linoleum. Descending into the pool were marble stairs with teak footholds. The pool cost $35 in today's money to use, but the pool was free of charge to men between the hours of 6 and 8 a.m. for morning exercise. The squash/racket court was also available to you, located on G deck. It measured 30 feet by 20 feet long, and it also had a spectator's gallery on F deck overlooking the court. A game would cost roughly $15 in today's money. Now let's talk about lunch. You could enjoy lunch in the Café Parisien, dining saloon, or the a la carte restaurant. The a la carte restaurant and the Café Parisien featured the same menu, but a different environment to sit in. In these restaurants, you could choose to have lunch whenever you liked. But if you wanted to eat in the dining saloon, which was free with your ticket price, you would need to be there between the hours of 1 and 2 p.m. The menus changed daily, but here is an example of a real one. You had an option of 4 different appetizers, a variety of grilled meats, an extensive buffet spread, and to end your meal, an extensive display of cheeses. If you had the means, as a woman, you would change for luncheon to show off your wealth, style, and the beautiful fashions you had bought in Europe. After luncheon, if you had not used one of the sporting facilities, you might do so, or you may explore one of the gathering places available to you, such as the lounge, reading and writing room, or you may visit the promenade deck again. The first-class lounge was one of the most stylish and beautiful places aboard the ship, modeled in the Louis XV style, after the Palace of Versailles. It occupied a large space midship on the A deck, and it offered views onto the promenade deck and the ocean beyond. The lounge was open daily between 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. This room was used primarily for socialization, connecting with other passengers, and chatting with your party. Tea, coffee, and light refreshments were also available to you. There were many nice alcoved spaces allowing for more private conversations. You could also choose to borrow a book from the lending library, where there was a permanent collection of classics and the latest releases that were freshly stocked on every single voyage. You might also choose to spend time in the reading and writing room. This was a leisurely and quiet space where you could write letters to your family and friends. The room was decorated in the refined Georgian style, featuring painted white and dove gray accents. The room had plasterwork combined with sleek paneling and fluted columns. There was also a white fireplace with maroon marble and white ribboning. Now it's time for tea. Individuals gathered between 3 and 5 p.m., primarily women. You could have tea in a variety of locations on the ship, such as in the lounge, Café Parisien, a la carte restaurant, reception room, veranda cafe, or your room. In the reception room, the orchestra played between 4 and 5 p.m. Women were also given the opportunity to change yet again into a light tea dress. After tea, you might choose to walk the promenade deck. Individuals played shuffleboard, dominoes, and chess, which could all be obtained from the quartermaster. A bugle call to the tune of "The Roast Beef of Old England" was sounded an hour and a half in advance of lunch or of dinner. This alerted the passengers so they could prepare for the upcoming event, in this case changing and freshening up before dinner. Everyone would change for dinner, all of the first class, men and women in their finest and latest gowns, and men in their white tie. For dinner, you could choose to eat in the dining saloon or in the a la carte restaurant. The a la carte restaurant was an extra fee, but it was more luxurious and more quaint than the dining saloon. Dinner in the dining saloon would begin between 6 and 7:30 p.m. Passengers gathered in the reception room before dinner, where they waited for the rest of their party. They conversed and had drinks beforehand. Dinner aboard the Titanic was the main affair of the day. Whether in the dining saloon or in the a la carte restaurant, you were treated to an unbelievable feast of 10 to 13 courses. The dining saloon was the largest room on board of any ship in 1912 and accommodated up to 554 passengers. The saloon was decorated in wooden paneling and painted in a glossy white enamel. There were 2 aisles the length of the room and created a large central dining area. In total, there were 115 tables, set for 2 to 12 individuals. And here is a look at a real menu from April 14th. This menu consisted of 10 courses, such as a variety of soups, salads, meats, palate cleansers, entrees, and wonderful desserts. Dinner could last well into the evening, about till 11:30 p.m. When the meal was finished, the ladies and the gentlemen split. The women would remain in the dining room, while the men would go to the smoking room. The room was reserved for gentlemen only, and this was the social convention at the time. Here, gentlemen played cards, gambled, conversed, drank, and smoked. The smoking room was richly decorated and housed the only working real fireplace on board. The rest of the fireplaces were electrically heated. The room was fitted with richly carved mahogany wood in a deep color. There was also mother of pearl inlaid in the wood, and also beautiful stained glass, which depicted different ports from all over the world. The smoking room remained open between 8:30 a.m. and 12 a.m. To conclude your wonderful and eventful day, you would head back to your stateroom. As you did, you would pass through the grand staircase. This certainly was one of the most beautiful parts of the ship. Let me know in the comments how you would have spent your day aboard Titanic as a first-class passenger.